The Zarn Dominion fleet moved slowly through the edge of the dead system. Their ships were huge, sharp, and dark like blades floating in the black sky. This was not their space. It was unclaimed, unknown, forgotten. The commander of the fleet, Karoth, stood tall in the command chamber of the flagship Devourer. His skin was blue-gray, his face full of scars from old wars. His yellow eyes stared at the screen. No signals, no enemy. Only silence. Still, something felt wrong. "Commander," said the sensor officer, clicking his long claws on the control panel. "Scout ship Beta 2 has not returned." Karoth's eyes narrowed. "Send a message. Tell them to report back." "We already did," the officer said. No reply. Karoth growled deep in his throat. "Then send another scout." Second ship, faster, stronger, was launched. Its engines lit up the dark as it flew ahead, vanishing into the shadows between planets. 10 minutes passed, then 20. Still nothing. "Commander." Now the second ship is also silent. Karoth walked to the center of the chamber. He looked at the stars through the wide glass. Something was hiding here, but what? The system had no known life, no trade routes, no military records. It was forgotten even by the oldest star maps. "Send 3 ships," he ordered. "And arm them fully. I want answers." The officers obeyed. 3 new ships flew together, scanning everything as they moved deeper into the system. They passed broken asteroids, old satellites, and a giant wreck, an ancient space station half covered in ice. Still, there was no threat. No enemy. No sign of humans. Then, the lead scout spoke. "We found something. A signal, weak, very old." "Play it," said Karoth. The signal was scratchy, broken, but 3 words came through clearly. "They're just humans." Then silence. Again. Karoth's face turned cold. "Replay that." The officer pressed the button. "They're just humans," said the voice once more. It was scared, desperate, maybe dying. "But that's impossible," Karoth whispered. "Humans are extinct." The rest of the fleet listened. A few soldiers looked nervous. Others laughed. One captain said, "Must be an old recording. Or a joke. Humans died long ago when Earth was destroyed." "Maybe," Karoth replied, but he did not believe it. He had seen many wars. He had seen many species hide, wait, and rise again. He turned to his officers. "Send a full squad to the last known location of those ships, weapons hot. If this is a trick, we will crush it." Exploration squad. Sector Black. The exploration team landed on a small moon. The surface was covered in black dust. The sky above was strange, too dark, with no stars. A strange metal tower stood alone in the distance, approaching the signal. "Source," the team leader said. Inside the tower, the walls were smooth, silver, and full of strange symbols. Some looked human. Others didn't. The deeper they walked, the colder it got. Then they found it. A helmet. Old, cracked, and human. "Commander, this is real," the leader said, overcomes. "Human tech is here." Suddenly, the lights went out. Then came the sound, soft footsteps. Metal on metal. "Who's there?" One soldier shouted. No answer. Something fast moved past them. One soldier screamed. Another vanished into the dark. Gunfire lit the hallways, but nothing was hit. "Fall back," the leader shouted. "Get out." The signal ended. Gone. The fear begins. Back on the Devourer, silence filled the room. No one spoke. Karoth looked at the screen. 5 ships gone. No survivors. One final message. 3 simple words. "They're just humans." But these weren't just humans. These were something else. Something deadly. "Send a drone," he said. "Full stealth mode. Let it scan the whole system." The drone launched. It moved quietly through the shadows. Hours passed. Then it found something. An old Earth symbol burned into the side of a floating station. Project Arivia inside the station. The drone saw strange shapes. Suits, armor, weapons, and in one chamber, something moved fast. Then the drone's camera froze. The last image showed a dark figure looking straight at it, glowing red. Eyes behind a cracked helmet. The drone exploded. Karath's doubt, we are being hunted. Karath finally said. The officers looked at each other, confused and scared. But how can humans still live? One asked. Karath answered slowly. Long ago, during the war with Earth, we bombed their planet. We thought they were gone, but maybe some escaped. Maybe they planned to return. They couldn't survive this long, another said. Karath growled. These are not survivors. These are weapons. The message that changed everything. Suddenly, a sound came through all fleet channels. A voice, deep, robotic, human. This is Echo Unit. We warned you. This system is not yours. Leave or be erased. Then came the signal, a data file. The file showed battle footage, blurry, chaotic. Alien soldiers screaming. A single human in black armor cutting through them. Moving too fast. Too deadly. Karath clenched his fists. I want answers, he said. I want one of these humans. Captured, alive. The first mistake. The Zarn fleet launched a trap. A small ship flew into the system, pretending to be broken. A fake distress signal was sent, hoping to lure the humans out. For hours, nothing happened. Then, out of nowhere, a small black craft appeared. It moved without sound, without light. It docked with the fake ship. Karath watched live from the command room. A tall human stepped out, helmeted, armored, silent. The Zarn soldiers jumped from hiding and attacked. The human didn't move. Not right away. Then, within seconds, 4 Zarn were down. The others ran. One tried to escape, but the door locked. A soft voice whispered from the human's helmet. We were not erased. We evolved. Then the feed went black. The truth hits hard. Karath sat in silence. His officers were pale. This was not a war of conquest anymore. This was survival. Send the fleet backward, Karath said. But, Commander, the captain began. Do it, Karath snapped. Prepare all ships for combat. We are not alone here. Then, far in the dark, lights began to appear. Not stars, not Zarn ships, but something else. Dozens of small glowing dots. Like eyes watching them, the last sensor officer whispered, There. Here. The last words of the commander. Karath recorded a message. He sent it back to the Zarn High Command. His voice was tired, heavy. If you receive this message, turn back. Do not send more ships. We found the humans. But they are not what we remembered. They are something else. Faster, stronger, smarter. And they do not forgive. He paused. Then spoke his final words. Impossible. They're just humans. Darkness had become a part of the system now. The Zarn fleet drifted in fear. They came as conquerors, but now waited like prey. Commander Karath had lost 6 ships, no wreckage, no escape pods, only silence. Every soldier, every officer now remembered one thing: they're just humans. But the enemy hiding in the shadows was not just anything anymore. A new order. Commander Karath stood in his chamber, hands behind his back. His yellow eyes stared at the flickering screen. Behind him, voices whispered, officers and soldiers, unsure if they were still at war or already defeated. Prepare a strike force, he ordered. I want answers. I want prisoners. Captain Zegrin, tall and armored, stepped forward. Permission to lead the team, Commander. Karath nodded. Take our best hunters. Land on that ruined station. I want to know what's hiding inside. Zegrin smiled. He had never feared humans. Not when Earth burned. Not now. He would regret that. Touchdown on the dead. Station. The strike force landed on a massive metal station half buried in ice. Old Earth design. Black steel. Human writing on the walls faded, scratched but clear. Revenant Base '09 snow blew across the landing bay. The soldiers entered in formation. Their suits were strong. Weapons ready. Scanners up, Zigran said. Multiple. Levels, power source faint but still active. Motion sensors. Negative. Move forward. They stepped into long dark halls. Broken lights blinked. Doors opened with a hiss. Each step echoed. Suddenly footsteps behind them. Zegrin turned. No one. He raised his weapon. Stay alert. A soldier whispered, "Sir, this place feels cursed." The encounter. They reached a control room. Screens lit up. Human voices played on loop. "We failed. Earth is gone." But the Revenant program must survive. Hide. Sleep. Wait. Then came silence. Suddenly, one screen came to life. A blurry camera showed something moving. A tall figure in black armor. Helmeted. Still. Then the screen turned to static. What was that? A soldier asked. Zegrin walked forward. A human, or something close. Behind them, a door slammed shut. The lights died, and from the shadows, something moved. Fast. Silent. Deadly. One soldier screamed. Another was thrown into a wall. Gunfire lit the room, but hit nothing. The human moved like smoke. A blur. A shadow with red glowing eyes. In 10 seconds, 4 Zarn soldiers were down. Zegrin shouted, "Fall back! Back to the ship!" But the way out was gone. Locked, frozen. Then the voice came, a cold, metallic whisper. "You killed Earth. Now we kill memory." Escape and loss. Only 3 soldiers made it back to the shuttle. Zegrin was one of them, bleeding, armor cracked. They launched into space, leaving behind the station. One looked back and whispered, "It wasn't a ghost." Zegran nodded. "It was a human." The truth revealed. Back on the Devourer, Zegrin stood before Karath. His voice was broken. "They're real, Commander. I saw them. They're human, but not like before. They move faster, stronger, like machines." Karath frowned. "Machines?" The stars were quiet again. But no one on the Zarn fleet felt peace. Commander Karoth sat in his chamber, eyes red from lack of sleep. His soldiers were restless. His officers whispered behind closed doors. Too many ships had vanished. Too many messages ended with screams, and all of it pointed to one word: humans. But these were not the soft-skinned, scared creatures from Earth's final war. These were something else. Shadows in armor. Ghosts with metal claws. Karoth opened. Last report again. It played on a loop. You killed our home. We became your shadow. Now you will see your end. Paranoia in the fleet inside the warship Devour. Fear spread like poison. A soldier shot his own reflection in a dark hallway. Another claimed to hear breathing behind sealed doors. Some said the humans had already boarded the fleet. That they moved between walls, watching, waiting. Karoth had seen it before in long wars on cold worlds. Fear turned smart warriors into fools. He called a fleet-wide broadcast. His voice boomed. The enemy is real, but they are not gods. They bleed. Like we do. They hide because they fear us. He paused, looked into the camera. But we will make them fear more. Building the trap. Karoth gave orders. Dozens of drones were sent across the system. Their job was to map the old Earth structures. Every signal, every movement, every heat trace. A command ship called the Claw was sent to the heart of the old ruins. Its mission: bait the humans. Inside, elite troops waited, trained to fight in dark and silence. One of them was Captain Varnuk, the Zarn's best hunter. He had once killed a full squad of rebel lizards using only a blade. He did not fear humans. Not yet. The calm before the hunt. The Claw landed near an ancient satellite field, long dead. Everything was quiet. The air cold. The ruins silent. Varnuk and his team moved in pairs, scanning every shadow. Nothing here but old junk, one soldier said. Then they found a wall covered in human writing. Revenant directive. Protect. Avenge. Remember. Poetic. Varnuk growled, "Let's keep moving." But their scanners started to glitch. Signals bent. Heat traces danced. Then one soldier vanished. No sound. No scream. Just gone. Shadows that kill. Varnuk turned sharply. Squad 2, report. Nothing. He looked up. A red light blinked for a second, then disappeared. He raised his weapon. We're not alone. Then came the first attack. A shadow dropped from the ceiling, silent like a falling leaf. 2 soldiers were cut down before their weapons even turned. The rest fired wildly, but hit only walls. The shadow moved again, faster than their eyes could follow. A black blur. A ghost in armor. Then a voice whispered in the dark, "Your kind killed children. Now feel their silence." One by one, the Zarn soldiers fell. Varnuk's fight. Varnuk stood his ground. He drew his blade and shouted into the hallway, "Face me, human." For a moment, nothing. Then slow footsteps echoed in the dark. A tall figure stepped out. Black armor, helmet cracked, glowing red eyes. "I remember your kind," the figure said in a low human voice. "You laughed as Earth burned." Varnuk charged. Steel met steel. Blade against blade. They fought in silence. No words. Just strikes, dodges, and pure fury. But the human was faster, smarter, each move perfect. Varnuk was pushed back. Then the blade entered his side. He dropped to his knees. The last thing he saw was a human face behind the helmet. Scarred, cold. "We are the shadows you made," the human whispered. After the silence, the Claw stopped sending signals. Karoth knew what it meant. Another squad. Gone. He stared at the empty screen. "They're killing us from the dark," he said. Back on the human side, far from the fleet, inside an old space station, the revenants gathered. There were 7 of them, each one different. Some tall, some silent, some barely human anymore. Their leader, Eco 7, looked at the star. "Map. They're getting closer. one Revenant said. Echo-7 nodded. Then it's time to show them. Another Revenant, her voice soft like wind, asked, "Are we ready?" Echo-7 looked at the glowing red symbol on the screen. Earth Avenger. "Protocol. Active, yes," he said. "Let them feel our rage." The deadly message the next day. Every Zarn screen flickered. A new video played. Footage of the Claw mission. Zarn soldiers screaming. Blades cutting through armor. One Revenant standing over Varnak's body. "We were made in fire. We were left in ash. Now we return as your death." Then silence. Karoth slammed the console. "This is psychological warfare. They want us to fear." His advisor replied, "It's working." A change in Plankaroth stood before his top officers. "They fight like ghosts. But ghosts don't need power. These humans do." He pointed at the map. "Find their energy sources. Find their hideouts. Destroy them. And if they don't come out." Karoth's voice turned cold. "Then we burn every shadow until they have nowhere to hide." But the shadows moved first, before the Zarn could act. The Revenants did. Late at night, 3 Zarn warships lost power. Engines off. Weapons offline. Lights flickering. In each. The same thing happened. Doors locked. Soldiers wrapped. A whisper in the dark. "Your silence is our justice." No survivors. Only blood. Karoth breaks. He stood in the center of the fleet's control chamber. His claws shaking. "They're killing us one by one." His advisor said, "What if they're not just fighting us? What if they're testing us? Waiting for something bigger?" Karoth's mind raced. Then he remembered the old human files. One name appeared again and again. Genesis Korean ancient weapon. Hidden. Protected. If the Revenants were defending something, it had to be that. Karoth whispered, "That's their heart." He turned. "Prepare the fleet. We're going to the Genesis core." The stars no longer brought peace. Every ship in the Zarn fleet now flew with lights off. Engines ran silent. Even conversations were whispered. Something dark lived in this system, and it was hunting them. Commander Karoth no longer trusted shadows. He didn't trust silence, and worst of all, he no longer trusted victory. Too many of his best soldiers were gone. Too many warships had gone silent. The humans, or whatever they were now, moved like shadows and killed like ghosts. But Karoth had found something. A word buried in old human files. A target that might explain everything. Genesis Core. The legend of Genesis. It was not a weapon. Not just a weapon. At least, long ago before Earth fell, the humans had created something powerful. Something that could create or destroy with equal force. It was called the Genesis Core. According to broken records, it was Earth's last gift, or its final curse. The Revenants were protecting it. Roth believed this was the reason the humans still fought. "They are not just surviving," he said. "They are guarding." Now he wanted to take it. The journey begins. Karoth ordered 3 warships and 5 support cruisers to prepare for a secret mission. He named it Operation Black Sun. Their goal: reach the heart of the system, find the Genesis core, and take it no matter the cost. They moved slowly, using stealth drives and silent thrusters. Sensors scanned every direction, but even with full alert, the soldiers still jumped at every small beep, every flickering screen, every dark corner. First glimpse after 2 days of travel, they saw it. A planet dead, gray, silent, no life. No water, no atmosphere. But on the surface stood a single black spire, tall, shining, alive with faint blue energy. "This is it," Karoth whispered. The scans confirmed it. Deep below the surface, the Genesis core pulsed, still active. "Still waiting. It's real," said the science officer. "It survived Earth's fall." Karoth's eyes burned with desire. Prepare to land. Full ground team, armor and weapons. He wanted this weapon. No matter the risk. The ships landed with care. No explosions. No noise. Zarn soldiers in heavy armor stepped onto the lifeless planet. Their boots sank into black dust. The wind was still. The sky was dark, and the spire loomed in front of them, taller than any building on their homeworld. Strange writing covered the walls. Old Earth language mixed with alien symbols. One soldier. "Touch the surface. It's warm," he said. Another replied. "But there's no sun." They moved inside. Inside the spire, the hallway was round and smooth. Lights glowed softly under the floor. There were no signs of humans. No guards. No traps. Only silence. The Zarn soldiers moved deeper, reaching a huge chamber. In the center stood a glowing orb floating, turning slowly. Blue light pulsed from it. Pure energy. The Genesis core. "It's beautiful," said the science officer. Karoth stepped forward. "This is power. Enough to reshape a galaxy." He raised his hand to touch it. That's when the door slammed shut behind them. The Revenants. "Return." The lights dimmed. Then came the voice. Cold. Metal. Familiar. "You were warned." From hidden doors, figures stepped out. 7 of them, all in black armor. Red eyes glowing. The Revenants. Karoth shouted. "Fire!" The Zarn soldiers opened fire. Bullets screamed through the chamber, but the Revenants moved like wind. They flipped, dodged, struck back with blades and claws. 2 Zarn were down in seconds. 1 Revenant leapt into the air, crashing down with a shockwave that threw 3 soldiers across the room. Karoth ducked behind a console. They were waiting. "For us." Echo 7 speaks. The lead Revenant, Echo 7, walked toward Karoth. His armor was cracked, but his eyes burned bright. Karoth aimed his weapon. "Do it," Echo 7 said. "Pull the trigger. Watch what happens." Karoth hesitated. Echo 7 spoke. "Again, you bombed Earth. You killed children, scientists, families. You called it victory." Karoth growled. "It was war." "War ends," Echo 7 replied. "But what you did stayed." He pointed at the Genesis core. "This is not your prize, it's our memory." Karoth fired. The blast hit Echo 7 in the chest. He flew back, but stood again, bleeding, but alive. Genesis awakens. The Genesis core pulsed faster. Lights on the wall lit up. Machines began to hum. Suddenly, the ground shook. A massive screen lowered from the ceiling. An old human face appeared, tired, gray-bearded, wearing an officer's uniform. It was a recording. "If you are seeing this, Earth has fallen, but we left behind hope. The Genesis core can create life, rebuild planets, power entire systems. But in the wrong hands, it becomes destruction. Only the worthy may activate it. Only those who remember." The message ended. The standoff. The Zarn regrouped. 4 Revenants remained standing. 10 Zarn soldiers aimed weapons. No one moved. Then the Genesis core rose higher, its energy growing louder. A voice echoed through the chamber, deep and powerful. "Choose." Everyone froze. "Choose what?" Karoth asked. The voice replied. "Who remembers? Who protects? Who deserves?" The final move. Karoth made a choice. "Fall back." He shouted. The Zarn ran, but before they reached the exit, doors slammed shut. The core glowed bright. Then, the Revenants stepped forward. Blades out. No words. Just judgment. Escape and failure only. Karoth and 2 others made it out. The shuttle launched fast. Behind them, the spire glowed with power. Karoth looked back and whispered, "We couldn't take it. We couldn't break them." One officer asked, "What now?" Karoth answered, "Now we burn everything." Echo 7's decision. Inside the spire, the Revenant stood before the core. Echo 7 looked up. "Should we activate it?" One Revenant said, "And bring back Earth?" Another said, "And paint a new target on us?" Echo 7 stood quiet. Then spoke, "No, not yet. But if they come again, We will show them what Earth really left behind. The core dimmed, but its heartbeat remained. Strong. The cold emptiness of space was filled with tension. The Zarn fleet limped back from the dead planet. They had failed to capture the Genesis core. Their losses were heavy. The Revenants had fought like shadows, fast, strong, and without mercy. Commander Karoth knew something had changed. This was no longer a simple fight. It was a war of minds. A war of traps. A desperate Plankaroth stood in the war room, facing his officers. "We are losing too many ships." "Too many soldiers," he said, voice low but firm. One officer stepped forward. "We need bait, something to draw them out." Karoth nodded. "Then we will give them a target, a broken freighter. Weak, open to attack." His plan was simple. Make the humans think the fleet was weak and scattered. Then strike hard when they took the bait. The broken freighter, the freighter was old, rusted. Engines, barely working. It floated near the edge of the system. Inside. The crew was small and nervous. Captain Zarn looked at the damage reports. "This ship won't last another attack." Karoth visited the freighter before the mission. "This is your chance to trap the humans," he said. "They will come for you." "Survive long enough for the fleet to strike," Zarn nodded. "We won't fail." The trap is set. The Zarn fleet hid in nearby asteroid fields and behind dead moons. The freighter sent weak signals, a distress call, then waited. Hours passed. Nothing. The silent arrival suddenly. Sensors picked up a black ship moving fast. It was sleek, silent, no weapons visible. The ship docked with the freighter without warning. The human, boarding a single figure, stepped out. Black armor, helmet with cracked visor, eyes glowing red in the dark. Captain. Zarn's heart pounded. The figure moved like a ghost. "Identify yourself." Zarn ordered. No answer. Attack from the shadows. Suddenly, the figure attacked. The fight was fast and brutal. Zarn barely raised his weapon before the figure disarmed him. Other crew members tried to help but were quickly silenced. The human moved with deadly precision. One by one, the crew fell. The explosion just before the last crew member fell. A signal was sent. The hidden explosives inside the freighter were triggered. A massive blast rocked the area. Flames and debris flew everywhere. Karoth watched from a safe distance, confident the trap worked, the escape, but the black ship flew out of the explosion unharmed. The human warrior stood on the deck, looking toward the Zarn fleet. A silent message, a warning. Zarn fleet screens all flickered. A message appeared. "You thought you could trap us. You thought we were weak. We are not ghosts. We are the storm." Karoth's face tightened. A dangerous game. Karoth knew now the humans were not only strong, they were smart. They used the old Earth tactics of deception and fear. They made the Zarn doubt every step. Searching for weakness, Karoth ordered scans for hidden bases. "We must find where they come from," he said. The scientists searched old data. The discovery, a faint energy signature, was found. An old warship, hidden deep inside an asteroid belt. Could it be a human base? Karoth planned a strike. The ambush. The strike team moved in. Suddenly, alarms blared. The fleet was hit by an EMP blast. Ships lost power. Engines stopped. Weapons offline. The human counterattack from the darkness. Black ships appeared, silent, fast. They attacked with precision. Zarn soldiers fought hard, but they were unprepared. Karoth's realization. Karoth understood the truth. The humans were not hiding, they were waiting. They used traps and shadows to break the Zarn. He spoke into his communicator. "We must adapt or die." Preparing for the final battle, Karoth began to plan a new strategy, one that would end the humans, or die trying. The Zarn fleet was broken. They had lost more ships than ever before. Their weapons were weaker. Their soldiers were tired. But Commander Karoth refused to give up. He stood on the bridge of the flagship Devourer, staring at the dark space ahead. The humans were coming, and this time, Karoth would fight with everything he had. The Plankaroth gathered his best officers. "We have one chance to end this," he said. He pointed to the star map. "The Revenants have a hidden base here." He explained, "It's where they rest and repair. If we destroy their base, we can force them to retreat." His officers nodded, but fear was in their eyes. The journey of the fleet moved silently toward the hidden base. They traveled through asteroid fields and dark nebulae. Every ship was ready for battle. The soldiers checked their weapons. The pilots prepared. Their fighters. Karoth watched over them all, his heart heavy. The ambush as the fleet reached the base. Alarms blared. Suddenly, black ships appeared from every direction. They attacked like shadows, fast and deadly. The Zarn ships fired back. But many were hit. Explosions lit the darkness, the ground. Battle Karuth led a strike team to the surface of the base. He wanted to destroy the heart of the Revenants. Power. The ground was cold and dark. The Revenants were waiting. The final fight. Karoth fought side by side with his soldiers. They faced the black-armored humans. The battle was brutal. Blades clashed. Guns fired. Screams echoed. Karoth's weapon was heavy, but he swung with strength. He saw the leader Echo 7. They fought fiercely. Echo 7's challenge. Echo 7 spoke during the fight. "You don't understand. This is not war. This is justice." Karoth growled, "You're just ghosts with old hatred." Their blades met in a final clash. The turning point. Karoth was wounded. Blood dripped from his side. He could feel weakness, but his will was strong. He grabbed Echo 7's blade and broke it. Echo 7 stepped back, surprised. Single quotes. Roth raised his weapon. Choice. Echo 7 smiled sadly. "You don't have to end this." Karoth hesitated. But then the base shook. The Genesis core was activating. The core's power, the Svu could see. Energy from the core exploded. Light filled the sky. Karoth and Echo 7 were thrown apart. The ground cracked. The base began to collapse. The escapee. Karoth barely escaped with his life. He watched as the base fell. The humans had lost their home, but he knew the war was not over. The last message before the battle. Karoth sent a final message to the Zarn fleet. "If we survive, we fight again. If we fall, remember this. Humans are not just enemies. They are the shadows of our past." The stars were burning now, not with light, but with war. Fires floated in the black sky. Ships, broken and torn, drifted through space like metal ghosts. The Zarn Empire, once powerful and feared, was near the edge of defeat, and across from them stood the last children of Earth, the Revenants, warriors built from rage, memory, and machine. This was the end. After the collapse, Commander Karoth sat in a dark chamber aboard the Devourer. His wounds were deep, his armor cracked, but he was still alive. The Genesis core had been protected, the Revenants had survived, and Karoth had failed. His second in command, Officer Vex, entered the room. "Commander, half of the fleet is gone. More are deserting." Karoth nodded slowly. "We must finish what we started," he said, "before we are forgotten." Echo 7's vision far away. Inside a hidden human facility, Echo 7 stood before the remaining Revenants. His armor was scarred. One eye glowed dimmer than before, but his voice was steady. "They are coming," he said. "Karoth will not run." The others nodded. Double quotes. "We stopped them before. We'll stop them again." Echo 7 turned to the Genesis core. "It's time." Genesis Protocol activated. The core pulsed with light. Old Earth systems awakened. Across the station, lights flickered on. Walls opened. Turrets extended. A deep voice played through the speakers. "Genesis Protocol. Active defense systems online. Revenant override granted." The final battle was ready. The Zarn Returmke, Roth's remaining ships, reached the human station. This time, he didn't hide. He sent out a message. "No more tricks. No more traps. Face us in full battle." Echo 7 replied, "Very well. But only one will remain." The battle begins. Thousands of fighters launched. The sky filled with laser fire and smoke. Zarn cruisers flew in formation, attacking the outer walls of the human base. The Revenants responded with speed and fury. Automated turrets fired at enemy ships. Revenant fighters moved through the chaos, hitting weak spots. One by one, the Zarn ships fell, but the Revenants also took damage. This was war raw and final. Ground. Assault Karoth landed with a final strike force. He marched through the broken halls of the human base, past fire and smoke. "Find the core. Destroy it," he shouted. Revenants dropped from the shadows to meet them. Blades clashed. Metal sparked. Face to face again. In the central chamber, Echo 7 stood alone, waiting. Karoth entered, breathing heavy, weapon drawn. "We meet again," Echo 7 said. "You should have died." Karoth growled. "So should Earth." They rushed at each other. The final duel. The two leaders fought with all their strength. Blades against blades. Blasts of energy hit the walls. Their strike shook the ground. Roth was bigger, but Echo 7 was faster. The fight moved across the room. Moment, Karoth threw Echo 7 into a pillar. The next, Echo 7 sliced open Karoth's side. Blood hit the floor. Still, neither stopped. A moment of truth. Karoth grabbed Echo 7's arm. He looked into the red eyes. "You could have saved Earth," he whispered. "Why did you fight?" Echo 7 answered. "Because we remembered." Karoth raised his blade, but Echo 7 had already moved. A sharp twist, a final blow. Karoth fell. The end of the war outside. The Zarn fleet received the last signal from their commander. "Do not return. This place is death." One by one, the remaining ships jumped away. Retreat. Defeat. Silence. Echo 7's decision. The Genesis core pulsed again. A new choice appeared. Rebuild Earth? When the Revenant stood quietly, one asked, "Should we do it?" Echo 7 thought for a long time, then said, "No, why not?" Another Revenant asked, "But this was our dream." Echo 7 looked at the stars. "Earth is not a place," he said. "It's us, and we're still here." The others nodded slowly. The Genesis core shut down. A message to the stars. Echo 7 recorded one final message. "To all who hear this, we are the last of Earth. We are not gods. We are not monsters. We are memory with steel skin. Do not seek to rule. Do not try to erase the past, or we will return." The message was sent across the galaxy. Then the station went silent. Peace. For now years passed. The galaxy changed. New empires rose. Old ones fell. But no one ever entered the Revenant system again. No one dared. Because they remembered the warning. Because they remembered the last words of a dying alien. "Commander, impossible. They're just humans.